Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Drama to Dharma. Thank you all for joining us this evening. My name is Josie Ramirez Herndon, and this is our weekly share of divine messages from Archangel Gabriel. We invite you into our conversations and discussions about daily life and personal growth, spiritual growth. So that's what our goal is for this evening. And Gabriel comes up with a topic. So he did come up with one for me yesterday. It says volume is low. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me. Anyways, I will speak louder if I need to. I was hoping to not have to be so close. Next week, I'm hoping to figure out a microphone system. I think I said that last time and I just haven't had the chance to do it. So I will try to speak up. And if you don't hear me, you can put a little message in my comments section. But the topic that we want to talk about tonight with Gabriel and for those of you who haven't been part of the show, Archangel Gabriel, I channel him. I've been doing that for 10 years. And I go into a complete channel for private sessions. But for the purpose of this show, I just kind of share messages as he speaks through me. It's a little bit easier for me to do it that way. And that way I'm cohesive with keeping up with all of the questions and the technology that we have to do. That just kind of explains, a little bit about that. But if you ask me questions for Gabriel, then in the comment section, and for the angels, and I will answer, through Gabriel the best I can. But we always start with a topic, a general topic, so that we can have a conversation going. Now, the topic tonight is Hindsight 2020. Gabriel's been talking a little bit about that. My husband Jim mentioned that hindsight is 2020, and 2020 vision type of thing for this year of 2020, how incredible it has been. It's been a much different year than most. And hindsight is a universal clarity, basically, Gabriel says. Hindsight is universal clarity is one of the definitions. So he kind of wants us to look at it as this year of universal clarity. And we are in the first day of the fourth quarter of our hindsight of 2020. So we wanted to just talk about and have you think about where have you been, like so far, how has 2020 been for you? It's kind of a good time to check in because there's still 3 more months left of this year. It's been a very different year on the planet. So he's saying, he's encouraging us to reflect on where we have been through this year. How, from a hindsight standpoint, what have we learned from this year? So if we can really delve into where we are today in 2020, October 1st, 2020, and with all of the things that have gone on politically, pandemic has been huge since March 9th, around March 16th, although it's been going on for the entire year of 2020, and all of the adjustments and changes that have taken place and how that has affected us as a human race. First part of all of that, we were very hyper vigilant, afraid, scared, something new, thinking it's going to go away quickly. First, he says our first thought is, okay, this might last a few weeks, just like with anything. This is going to go away and then we're going to go back to normal. Well, now we're in October. Things are still pretty much not back to normal, whatever that means. He says they'll never really go back to normal because these are all evolution. We're all evolving through this experience. And if we can look at it from that standpoint of evolution through this experience. So that's part of it. But again, back to the hindsight is 2020, clarity, universal clarity. What from this experience have you felt in your spirit with more clarity? Have you, because a lot of times, and he's talked about this before, is how, and many teachers do, how contrast will bring clarity forth. So we could say that this has been a year of contrast in many different ways. So with contrast comes clarity. Now that we're in fourth quarter of this hindsight year, or this year of clarity, what can we reflect on and how can we bring that into our life today and moving forward in a positive way? He's wanting us to think about it in a positive way. And you might say, wow, that's a lot to ask for in the situation, that we've been in. How can we find this in a positive way? Although many people have been able to find the positive of everything that's happened. So, you don't have to answer this, of course. These are just questions that we're throwing out to you so that you can think about it as you're planning for your 2021, and as you're planning for what we would call the holidays or holy days coming up. We're now in October. The summer's over. We're in fall. The weather's changing. The leaves are still changing colors, he says, regardless of what's happened with the pandemic and everything else. The leaves are still changing colors. The sun is still coming out. The world is still evolving as it does in its seasons. Every season, as they say, has its time. So now we're changing seasons. We're in October. We're thinking, wow, what are we going to do for the holidays? What are we going to do for, Halloween or for the fall festivals? Or, are we going to be able to get together with friends during fall festivals? Probably not. I've already seen cancellations of fall festivals coming through. And so then, Thanksgiving and Christmas and Hanukkah and the holy days. What are we going to do? And then he says, okay, you can think about what do they really mean? What do they really mean? Because during this time, we have certainly been more introspective, he says, as human beings and with our priorities as well. So we can talk about and think about how do we put this clarity into our daily life and into these upcoming holidays, because he says that a lot of us are already have a hard time during the holidays as it is on a good day or on what we call a normal year. And now we're going, okay, how are we going to get into holidays during this time? And then he says, it's probably going to be pretty good because you're still going to be able to see each other, but maybe not. We can think about who we want to spend the time with and kind of prioritize how we're going to do the holidays. So that way we're not depressed during the holidays, because there's going to be a lot of changes on the planet still happening. If you watch the news, there's going to be a lot of drama happening, a lot of angry energy going on right now, just energetically on the planet. There's so much angry energy with the political scene going on. And so there's a lot of different energy that for those of us who are intuitive, which I would say we all are if we're on watching the show Drama to Dharma, because we're connected to just that term, right? We live in a world of drama, but we're always wanting to connect with our Dharma. So we just want to make sure that that we are able to do that. Now, I'm sorry, I just read on my post here that Jerry, we do start our show with old business. So thank you, Jerry, for reminding me. Old business one. So we started out by explaining a little bit about the topic, and I'm going to go to old business, and then we'll go back to our topic, and that's fine. So old business, on one of the recent past calls, you and Gabriel said, giving bread is very loving. This inspired me to bake cookies and give homemade bread to dear friends. It made me feel wonderful, and friends felt very cared about. So appreciated. Thank you. Well, thank you, Jerry, for bringing that up for old business. And I'll tell you, when you put that down, it makes me think of Jody, who's also in the green room, and Dan, who make us bread. They bake beautiful bread for Jim and I. They've made us loaves of bread maybe every several weeks, and it has just been so heartwarming, and it just fills our life with love at that moment. So, and there they are. There's Dan. Thank you, Dan. He's the bread baker. And I just appreciate it to no end, because sometimes during this time, Jim's been going through a lot of medical issues, as you know, and which then has kind of, I've been starting to get a few things, and I don't know if that's just from just the stress and law of attraction. We might talk about that a little bit later too. But it's exhausting. It's been exhausting. I don't know how you guys feel, or if you have comments about that, if you've been extra tired these last several months since all this has started. Even though we're home, things are so different. I think sometimes I'm just very tired, and the masks haven't helped. So when a friend brings bread or says, come and, pick up a loaf of bread, or Jerry, you take them to your neighbors, it is just like the most beautiful gifts that we can give each other. And we don't know when those times are going to be perfect, but we know that God is in charge. So intuitively, just know that when you do that, it means the world to that person. And I have to say, I haven't baked any bread for anybody yet because I just haven't had the energy to do it. But I know I'm going to get the energy to do it because I love to bake around the holidays. I bake once a year, and that's around Christmas. That's the time I bake once a year. So I will be looking forward to baking extra this year, and those will be my Christmas gifts to my neighbors and friends, because I don't know that I'm going to do a bunch of Christmas shopping and like I normally do, and a bunch of stuff like that. I don't think this year feels it. Just I don't feel that. So I'll probably do homemade gifts and things like that. So now that we're home, we can think about our arts and crafts that we do. And I know Renee is an artist, so maybe she'll paint a couple extra beautiful paintings as gifts, and so those are things that we can do. Things that we probably would have done maybe 20 years ago in some of our cases, in our lives where we had more time to bake and do. I know when my kids were young, we used to make the little Christmas ornaments and we still have those Christmas ornaments from when they were children that we actually made ourselves. So, I might make Christmas ornaments with my grandkids. That could be really fun and different. That would, so yes, those are things, that I think perhaps if we were so busy, like in my case last year, this time last year, I was so busy. I was probably at a conference getting ready to go. I mean, October 1st for me for the last 20 years in my career has been going to conferences. I called it conference season. So for 2 months straight, I'd be on the road, basically right through the holidays, and then have a big holiday party, and then it would all be over. This year, that's not going to happen. So I'm actually, looking at it from a positive perspective, that's going to be good. I'm going to be able, I will miss my friends, but we do see each other on Zoom a lot, but, just being home and focusing on other things, that I would have been more focused on. Like I said, in my case, maybe 20 years ago, those are the things that I'm going to be doing this year that I haven't done for many years. And so those are things that Gabriel's saying to think about now, start journaling about now. He's encouraging us to do that, to get ready for this holy holiday season. And that way we can help raise the vibration of our fellows and of the planet as everything is transitioning into the year 2021, which we'll talk more about, he says, closer to 2021, because that'll also be an interesting year, he says, because everything is evolving and everything is going to be wonderful. Hi, Kim Venter. That's so neat. I'd love to know if Archangel Gabriel has any guidance for how I can make an impact in spreading peace. Oh, well, he loves that. There are several ways to do it. Number one, he says, of course, is to be the peace that you want to share. So whatever it is that we want to be and share with the world, or, that we want to share with the world, then we must be that during our meditation. So as you're meditating, you're going to pray for that peaceful spirit. And so that when others see you in your realm or on your shows or on your Zooms or however you're communicating or texting or on the phone, that they are going to feel the spirit of peace through you. So you don't even have to, on some level, speak about it. You're just going to be that of which you want the world to be. That's beautiful. So as we are, coming into this season, and we want to feel peace because there's so much turmoil, and we kind of don't want to be part of that turmoil that's happening. He says, don't be part of it. Be the peace. Watch as few television news things as possible. He says, that's what I do. I did not watch the debate, although energetically I felt like major thing happened. And, it was like, whoa. So I didn't watch it, but I just, heard little, nips from here and there and thought, okay, I think that was something that's never happened before. It just happened that I didn't watch it because I had dinner plans that night, and I thought, oh shoot, because I would have watched it. I mean, not that I wouldn't have, I would be just as curious as everybody else, right? But the angels pulled me away. I had some other thing going on, and I did not watch the debate, and we recorded it, and it deleted itself. That's how much I wasn't supposed to watch the debate. However, I would have. So there's no judgment there. But what I'm saying is, so when you're looking for peace, be the peace. Be the peace. Even if you watch those, because we have to know what's going on. We see it, we feel it. Our friends talk about it. It's just there, so it's not like we're saying it's not there, but we don't have to engage in it. We can be the peace that we want the world, to feel the energy of that peace right now, that it's so much turmoil. And if there are people around you that are your friends or your family that are just butting heads, especially since the debate, Gabriel says people are just butting heads because it's like, wow, if our leaders can butt heads like that, we all could just say, screw it, excuse my language. That was my words, but it's like, why would we not say that we could do whatever we want? So, he's just saying to not go there, to try to do the opposite of what it is that's irritating us. If we're seeing that the people, we can just be that peace and listen to them, give them some acknowledgement for a moment if you're in their realm, and then move away from them or change the subject. And, they'll get the hint. You don't have to say anything offensive. You might just change the subject to something pleasant or something very simple that's controversial or whatever, because right now it's very delicate times over the next few months when it comes to peace on earth, and peace on earth is crucial right now. And I know that there's a global peace initiative that started in September, that if Debbie can post on there, Deb, there's a global, there's a group internationally that are doing prayers and different things for peace that I'm supposed to be a team leader in, and that's how much I know about it. But that we will, there we go, peace2030.earth. And it's 2030, but it's actually, the momentum is starting. They had it planned for years that it starts this September. It starts right now. And this was stuff that was planned years ago, because they did this back in the 80s for global peace. So you can go there and get in with groups of people that are actually making a difference in their community to bring peace on earth and to the world. It's an international global peace initiative. So thank you for that question. How precious our daily life is. Remember how free we were, and appreciate the tiniest of things that bring us joy. Absolutely. And I don't have your name on there. I'm sorry. For some reason, it didn't come up. It came up as Facebook user. So if you can pop in your name in the next line, that would be lovely. But boy, I'll tell you, I do appreciate everything. I appreciate the little things that I didn't appreciate before. And that is something that's very positive, because I think I did take for granted many things. I know I did. I know this sounds, kind of silly, but I mean, it's stuff like I took for granted, of course, my hairdresser, my nails, those things like that. Now I know that sounds, but those were things that I just never even thought about, that I would never be able to, or that for months I wouldn't be able to do again. It just never crossed my mind that I would break the law to get my hair and nails done. It never even came into my thought process that I would break the law to do my maintenance. So, that alone was amazing to me. And then it just goes from there. Hi, Kim. Yes, we all can do is moment to moment, just love, forgive, and move to the next moment, being calm and peaceful and relaxed. And that is absolutely true. And the breath is so important with that. And I know, people say, well, yeah, there's a lot about breath work and things like that. But I'll tell you, I was diagnosed with sleep apnea. I think I shared that about a month ago. I've got to do this silly machine on my nose. It's ridiculous. I can't even figure it out. So the one thing that I so appreciate is my breath. And I appreciate when I was able to do deep breaths and take my meditations to different levels of breathing. And right now I can't. And I don't know if I have something going on in my lungs. So if prayers, I'm getting my CT results next week. So I'll ask, for prayers from everybody that will resolve itself. But that's just what's happening with me. And I never had any kind of physical medical problem. So the taking for granted the silly things, like I said, the hairdresser, things like that, but really just even the breath, the peaceful breath of meditation, and being able to do that. And I used to kind of get bored with it sometimes when I'd meditate for hours, and now I'm like, gosh, if I do it too long, I get dizzy. So I'm doing different types of meditation where Gabriel's having me be in alignment with the angels during my meditation. I think I've talked about this before, where I'm doing regular breathing, but I'm inviting them in, and so that I'm in complete alignment physically with them and emotionally, spiritually, and where I'm feeling that energy in a different way than just sitting there, with the breath. So that's part of the relaxation. That's part of, again, another change in my life. So, there's going to be things that maybe were routine to us before. And this is one for me. And it could have to do with age, I know it has to do with age. It has to do with weight. It has to do with stress. It has to do with all those things that I have to take care of in my personal life through all this time. So, we can get into check with ourselves there as well, because like I was saying, I am more tired these days. I have, usually have lots more energy, but that I think has to do with this breath thing, of course, and the oxygen and all of that. But the fact that we've all been home, and he says that some of us are starting to have different types of medical problems from being home. So if you are starting to get different types of medical problems from either stress, related, or weight related, or off balance because the planet's off balance related, and there's different energies coming in, just go back to that place of meditation and align with who you truly are, your eternal being. And if you can do that alignment exercise every day during these times, it's been helpful to me. And I don't really, to be honest with you, I have not been using that machine the way I'm supposed to. I just don't like it. And so I might do it for 10 minutes and then I'm done. And then I go to sleep, and then I'm, and I do my alignment with the angels, but I'll try it because the doctor says I need to try it until there's something else. But, I also believe that we can heal ourselves spiritually. I believe that I could spiritually heal myself if I can focus on that. And I believe strongly in that. So, I'm going to keep working on both. I'm not going to give up on what the doctors want me to do, but I'm also going to be working on spiritual healing for my body as well. And so that Gabriel says to do the same thing. So as you're checking in with where you are right now, to check in with your body as well, because you might feel different things, and just listen to your body, and and listen to your intuition when it comes to your body and the food intake and the sugar and all that stuff. Yeah. Let's see. I've got some more comments here. Okay, Jody says, be truth, be one with peace, truth, and love for humanity. Yes, deep breathing is a core with me too. It's part of the equalization from sleep and stress. Aligning daily helps greatly. Yay, angels, Team Josie. Thank you, Jody. Yes, it definitely is. Being in alignment and just using those words he says when you're aligning, with your eternal self and with your higher self and your true self of who you are, you're going to energetically feel the shift. Renee says, the hindsight of 2020 has taught me clarity of purpose, clarity of love, clarity of those with energy who should be part of my inner circle, clarity for gratitude and all the gifts have been given, and clarity of priorities to find balance, love, and light. I am so grateful, especially for you, Josie and Gabriel. Thank you so much, Renee. That's beautiful. That is a lot of clarity to find, because I think even before this, and thinking of it from a standpoint of hindsight and clarity, we've had, like all these spiritual things have been on our fringe, he says. Gabriel says it's been kind of on the fringe of our life, right? Yes, I have spiritual gifts. Yes, I love to meditate. Yes, I love this. Yes, I love that. So for a lot of us, it's kind of been fringe stuff. Not everybody, of course. There are, teachers and masters who it's their whole life. But for those of us who, in my case, work, have a career, have children, grandchildren, husband, friends, family, all of that stuff, a full, all those things. And then trying to do my spiritual work with Gabriel, write my book, do my, it was a difficult thing for me to figure out how to balance all of that. And now that I've been home more, it's almost, in a sense, forced me to really delve deeper into that piece of me. And I started doing these shows right about when the pandemic started, because I got, the messages from Gabriel that it was time to share what I was able to share from his messages with those who would be interested in it, and having conversations like we're doing now, and the shows and things like that. And so for you all, he's saying to do the same thing right now is definitely, like Renee said, she found clarity in so many of those things. And all of those things are, perhaps they would have been in the fringe of our lives in the past, things maybe we thought about, but we never put a lot of focus on. So right now is a good opportunity. His hindsight is also focus, he says. Part of that is to focus, and the universal clarity. And so he's really, like, that message is strong right now, because there's going to be a lot of things going on, he says, over the next couple of months that are going to be different for us. Again, it's, but then again, we can say, well, we've gone through so much. What else can surprise us? Right? Nothing can surprise us, because we are resilient. We are resilient humans, he says. We energetically, we are meant to flow. We are eternal spiritual beings in physical bodies. So if we can remember that, we will know that we can flow through any changes that are coming. We are resilient. Tell yourself, I am resilient. I am resilient, and I am going to flow with this energy that's coming through the planet. And I'm going to help raise the vibration wherever I can. And that would be through peace, through joy, through love, he says so strongly, to just be that love, be the peace that we want the world so badly to be, to energetically to be. Whatever it is that we feel like, if we're watching the news or we're talking to people and we're going, God, I wish it could be this way, or, that way, then just be it, he says, and just know that it is definitely possible, because there's a collective consciousness of us that are all praying for the same thing right now, and we are meditating on the same thing. We're not in the news. We're not the news story. It's not that interesting. We would be the last ones that would be the front page right now, but there are many more of us, he says, that are praying, that are right now in a higher consciousness. And let's just stick with that idea and know that it's true, he says. That we're not getting the front page of the news or the social media, because there's a lot of other stuff that's a little more exciting, he says, as far as that goes, whatever. But just know we don't have to engage in that at all, that there are many more of us that are here doing exactly what you're doing now. So I'm hoping that this message will encourage you to just keep moving forward with your messages, with your gifts, with your clarity that you have for 2020. And you might say, I haven't really felt clarity. I've been sick. I got the coronavirus. I've had cancer. I'm doing all these things. Well, you know what? Those are all spiritual journeys. Those medical, and I know just from what I've been experiencing over the last couple months myself, that there's hardly a stronger spiritual journey than a physical journey with your body. And for those of you who have experienced physical journeys with your body, and where you feel that you've been close to the veil of transitioning from physical to the non-physical realm, then you'll probably agree with that is in itself a spiritual journey. So, you can look at it from that standpoint as well without, thinking, just know that everything is part of our journey from this hindsight of 2020, including healing ourselves from whatever has happened to us this year, physically, emotionally, spiritually. He says, it's time, it's fourth quarter of this year. We can really make a difference and just kind of shake it off as much as we can and just embrace who we truly are. He says we embrace the love, we embrace our eternalness of who we know we are. And if that's a foreign language to you, then it's okay, because hopefully you just think about it a little bit and say, that kind of resonates with me. I might just ponder that a little bit, and I might just pray on it. I might meditate and see what God has to say to me about that or the universe, what the universe, is going to show me, and then be open to the clarity of the discernment that you get from that. Okay, let's see. Physical journey. Yes, agreed. It is a physical journey, and blessings. We can look at the blessings behind our physical journeys, because a lot of times we just kind of get stuck in with whatever that physical journey is, and we say, okay, we say, this is it. I've got this diagnosis, and this is who I am, and this is who I'm going to be now. But Gabriel says you don't really have to. You definitely want to take care of yourself, like I'm doing. Listen to what the doctors say and do what they're asking right now, because I just want to make sure that I'm not going to do anything to hurt my body. But on the other hand, also, use the spiritual, your spiritual healing through prayer and meditation for yourself, during this time, and for others as well, and for each other. So it's definitely part of the journey. And thank you for that comment. I don't know if we have any other comments that I'm missing, but I don't want to. Sometimes I don't get everybody's comments, but if Debbie will help me, if you have any questions, please bring them up. All right. Now, usually by now I would have mentioned, I was so excited about the topic that I think I just kind of got into it, but I also want to thank our sponsors, ATS, Addiction Therapeutic Services, or Advanced Therapeutic Services. That's the company that my husband Jim and I own. And I've been working in the field of addiction and behavioral health and healthcare for over 30 years, since 1987. So we have an IOP and a PHP, and we do outpatient detox and things in our community. If there's anybody that that is struggling from those issues, you can call us. We also do telehealth. And I mention that now because a lot of our clients that we have are struggling with the situations that are happening also in the year 2020. So we've been able to be there and kind of, guide them and help them through, even the students, because we get adolescents and they're having trouble with their school and getting their education. So we're trying to help with that. So in your own community, you can keep that in mind in prayer for your neighbors also, that during these times, people may not be themselves. They might be a little bit more irritated than normal. They might be, they're going to be thrown off, but we don't know what goes on behind their closed doors. So just, keep in mind that people, it may not just be a physical thing that's going on with them. It could be a mental health issue. It could be depression. It could be addiction behind the doors. They're drinking, using drugs, domestic violence. There's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of weird stuff that's happened because of this. And, we're going to go ahead and hold that space for them and just try to be a light in their life. Gabriel says we don't, there's not necessarily a reason to intervene and get involved in any additional drama that we don't need, but he says to be a light for them in their life. So if you know somebody or you have suspicions that there's somebody that's struggling, you can always just be that light for them in their life and take them that loaf of bread or, things like that, just to maybe help them. And then you can see if there's anything else that that they might, need as far as just to talk or a friendly smile. He said, we just don't know how we're going to affect somebody's life with just the little things. And for a lot of us, a lot of people are still at home. So you're like, well, I don't go anywhere. No, but you do sometimes maybe go to the grocery store. So even that opportunity, or if you think about somebody that you haven't spoke to in quite some time, then text them a nice message. He says, it's nice to just text somebody randomly that you love them and you're thinking about them. And during these times, you can just do that. You can say, you know what, I love you and I'm just thinking about you. There's no, that, that's all. I love you and I'm thinking about you and I just wanted to say hi. There doesn't have to be a big correspondence back. And he said that will make the biggest difference in somebody's life that we may not even know. So there's certain, homework things that he likes to give during the week for people to try. And he's saying that's one of them. If you, can just text people that are in your phone that maybe you would normally see this time of year, even if it's colleagues or, whatever, and just say, I'm thinking about you. Hi, how are you doing? That could be the perfect time for them. We don't know what's going on in their life. A lot of people have lost jobs and, are struggling in ways financially or, physically, like we were talking about. So we don't have to necessarily be out and about and doing a bunch of stuff, but we can just do things that we can with the resources that we have at hand. And that's including, our text messaging or phone. We don't necessarily have to get on phone calls all day if we don't feel up to it, but we can just text somebody or send them a little messenger thing that just, hey, I'm thinking about you and I hope you're good, type of thing. Those things will make a difference in the ripple effect of what's happening right now when it comes to peace and love and joy on the planet. We can just do little bits of things that actually make a huge difference on the planet. We don't realize how much of a difference that it makes, he says, but it does. Anything positive that we can share and share forward energetically. And of course, we're all human, so we're going to have our moments. And that's okay. We can just reflect on when we have our moments of whatever it is that we, our humanness. Then he says, just sit there and don't say anything rather than getting involved in a conversation that might not be positive. So, we can flip it. We can flip it pretty quickly because we are going to, during these times, he says there's going to be a lot of reactions happening. We're going to have visceral reactions. We're going to have angry reactions. Just little things could just trigger us. And a lot of that has to do with just the energy of the planet and, everything that's happening. So that, he says, is normal. We all knew coming in here what we were going to be going through, really. And internally, we know that we have intuition, so we can catch ourselves, he says, when that happens, knowing that we're human, and just say, okay, I'm going to switch this off and I'm going to do something else. I'm going to maybe, sit here and meditate, or I'm just going to, enjoy the new fall leaves that are coming through. Anything that brings you joy and peace to your soul. He says anything that that'll bring you that peace and joy to your soul, just do it. And then your vibration will lift. So it can be just small things. And then you can just, sometimes I'll just take a little rest. I'll just not do much at all and ask for that alignment. And when I feel that happening, it just, a lot of that stuff goes away. A lot of my worry goes away. And then I can start focusing more on the healing and the love and the peace. And I can kind of feel it like from a global standpoint and a universal standpoint that everything is okay versus from the micro standpoint by looking at what is reality. I guess, because there's the reality of what we see here in the physical realm around us, but then there's also the spiritual reality that if we can get into a place of contemplation, prayer, meditation, that we will easily get into that knowing that everything is okay. And he really wants me to share that with you. He says it's very important for you to hear that right now during this conversation of hindsight is 2020, because it has been a year of shifting. It is going to continue to be a year of shifting. There's going to be a lot of things going on. It's not a boring year, he says. This is definitely and we can share with each other the love and the joy during this time. It's okay to do that. It's actually perfectly perfect. Okay, let's see. Carly Howard, praying for you, Josie. You are a true angel of God. Praying for sweet Jim, for me. The hindsight of 2020 is exactly what you were saying about finding divine peace. Two times God has placed me in a department at work that I am completely uncomfortable in. I have to work in assisted technology and train parents to work with their children using it. Due to a brain injury several years ago, when I get nervous, my brain tries to shut down and I can't think. I am having to learn to calm myself down. It has been so difficult, and I keep asking God why he put me there twice. Wow, thank you, Carly, for sharing that. And yeah, you and I have talked about that. Carly is a school teacher for special needs students, and she loves working with her. She's an occupational therapist, but she works for the school district. She loves working with her kids and the parents. So this has been difficult for her because she's actually teaching other teachers how to use the technology, because that's the education that the kids are getting now, and it's because she's able to do it. And that's what I've said. We can't really understand why, but I know why, because you are brilliant at everything you do, and you are just, God put you there, one, to keep your brain active. You already know these things that others don't know, because there are many teachers out there right now that are struggling, who are older teachers who just didn't think they'd ever have to deal with technology. They're ready to retire, and now all of a sudden they have to do education via Zoom or whatever. They're just like, are you kidding me? I'm so close to retirement. I'd rather be in a classroom with the kids any day than figure this out. But Carly is their angel of technology, because she's there to help them. She's very patient. And help them figure it out, so that these kids at home can get schooling that are not able to come into the classrooms yet, especially with the special needs. That is the most difficult of students to engage in this, although they're brilliant. But a lot of them, their attention span is limited, so you have to be very creative with them. You have to be creative at school, let alone trying to do it on Zoom. And I know what that's like with our clients, trying to keep them engaged in Zoom when they'd rather be out using drugs and alcohol. So it's like, how do we keep them engaged in Zoom when they'd rather be out partying? So, but we've been able to do it. And we also see them in. So thank you, Carly, for being there for your teachers. You're teaching the teachers rather than the students, but those are your students right now. And I know you miss your kids, you miss your babies, and they miss you, but the teachers, they need you a little bit more right now. God has you taking care of them and being gentle for them, because they are struggling emotionally right now with all of this. And as much as they, the teachers probably complain day and night about kids, you can imagine if they've been teaching for years, that's their entire life, and all of a sudden, where are their students? Where are their kids? In their mind, they're thinking, what's going on with my kids at home? For those parents or the teachers that know that there are some students that have home lives that are not very healthy. You can imagine, what goes on in their worrying about these kids that are home with maybe chaotic parents at best. So everything that you're doing for them is a blessing for the school district and for you, and you will always be blessed for that wonderful work. And then eventually, someday soon, you'll be back with your kids and doing what you love to do, and that's teaching the children. And we've all had to make different changes and adjustments to our lives, and it has been very stressful for most of us, all these changes. I know that yeah, I do a lot of work at home on Zoom. And at first it was kind of fun because it's like, hey, I could be in my pajamas. But I'll tell you, I've been doing the Zoom meetings and some of them are audio. And I'm just going to share. There was one that was audio for months. It was audio. And then as soon as we had a big lineup of people on there that were visitors, that were important people for this meeting, I thought it was audio and it was video and I was in my towel. So I'll just say. It has been stressful. I was just got out of the shower and I thought I was going to just, get ready during my Zoom call so I could listen and talk and this and that and not worry about it. And sure enough, no. So thank goodness for, you can take the audio off or the video off, and I figured it out. But and it was only for a few seconds. But that was extremely stressful for me. So I think we've all hopefully haven't had that extreme of an experience with Zoom, but it's just been different. And I just kind of had to roll with it, get dressed, and get back on the Zoom call. And everybody was so gracious. Nobody mentioned it at all, and we just continued to go on. But it was definitely a stressful experience because had anybody said something, I probably would have never join that Zoom call again. And I may have never come back to my whole career. That's how I felt that day. I felt like just going into and never coming out. But, oh, Jerry says, luckily you had a towel on. Exactly. Yeah, if I hadn't had a towel on, I probably would not have ever come back to Zoom. So that was different. But Carly, I'm using that as a little bit of a joke because we're all really doing things with technology that most of us aren't even used to. And but for whatever reason, God has us doing this, and really we're touching more people this way and meeting new people. I am meeting people that and hopefully I have folks, beautiful angels that are on our show tonight that, have never joined the show, or that, for the friends that come every week and the new ones, it's just a mix of, we don't know who's here and who's listening. But if I weren't doing the Zoom and all of this stuff, StreamYard, Facebook, then Gabriel says I wouldn't be able to share the message with everybody that needs to hear it at that moment. So we can embrace that and learn more about it. I know I can, for sure. I'm definitely technology challenged at times, to say the least. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I don't know if anybody has any other questions for us, but I'd love to have more questions or comments for Gabriel before we start wrapping up. It's almost time to wrap up. This has been a wonderful conversation. Gabriel is saying to me right now that he just wants everybody to take the message that they've heard tonight to heart, knowing that everything is perfect in the universe and in the world. It may not appear to be that way, again, from, maybe the reality of what things might look like in our reality, but knowing that we are the pillars for what's to come. We're here listening to this message because we're seeking answers. We're seeking confirmation that our spirits are being called right now to do something very special coming up, and it's true. So stay true to yourself, stay true to who you are, and keep in alignment with your eternal being, and you will get the answers for everything moving forward yourself. And so he says that everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. It may not feel that way sometimes, but just know that it is, and that there are things that we can do, and there just could be little things that we do that become big ripple effects on the planet. So we want, he wants you to just really to know that, and to do the text messaging of kindness and thoughtfulness to people that you may not have talked to in a while. And you don't know who needs it or who's struggling, or maybe intuitively you'll get a hit and say, gosh, and then just do what he says. Because you probably thought about that. Like, I thought about this person just yesterday, okay, then if that person came to your mind, that was your intuition, so he's saying the next step is to reach out to them in a simple way, and that's going to mean the world to them. That it just doesn't happen that people come to our mind either subtly or strongly right now. It's because they need us somehow. They're calling us somehow, spiritually. They're calling us. They're calling for help, and we're in their realm. We're part of their tribe, so we could reach out to them and give them that love and support. Just even if it's from a text message, or if it happens that you have a conversation with them, then that's fine too. But it doesn't have to be anything that takes up a whole lot of time in order for it to have that beautiful effect that he says that they need to just know that you care and that you love them. And that's all that it'll take. So that's the homework for the week, and it's a beautiful homework, and I'm going to do it myself, because every time I do the shows, I do what Gabriel suggests to do, and it always works out well. So this is for me as much as it is for you, and so I appreciate the opportunity to share his messages with you and answer the questions that you have for him, because it expands my spiritual growth as well, and my well-being. Now, I'm going to, before we wrap it up with our last comments, if anybody has any other questions, please post them now. I'm going to have Debbie put our little video up from our sponsor that we try to do every week if we can, and that's from ATS. So, Deb, if you can put up our video, that would be great.
My name is Christopher Zwick. I've struggled with addiction for all of my adult life. I went from alcohol to opiates to heroin and meth. I spiraled down until I ended up in the hospital, malnourished and suicidal. I was the shell of the man I used to be. Then, I found hope. I found ATS. Advanced Therapeutic Services provided me with a safe environment and the tools necessary to recover. I learned how to address the root issues behind the addiction. I now have over a year clean. I owe my life to ATS.
Thank you so much, Christopher, for sharing that wonderful testimonial of your treatment at ATS. And that's actually Debbie G's son, and Christopher helps us behind the scenes on everything on Spirituality Gone Wild. So I also want to thank Spirituality Gone Wild for helping us put this platform together, and Debbie for everything that she does to help and encourage me. She's the one who encouraged me to do the shows and to keep doing more things on social media. Without her, I would not be on social media. That is a given, because I wouldn't have been able to figure it out at all. So Deb, I want to thank you for that. And I do want you to put up, if you can, Deb, the information real quick, just for people, because there's going to be a 5-day, I talked about it last time, a 5-day divine, it's called the Divine Body Reset. And Andrea is going to be a guest on our show, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. She wrote a book called You're Enough, or Being Enough. I don't have the book with me. Usually I do, but Born Enough. There we go. It's perfect. We're born enough. And I love that topic. But she's a physical fitness specialist and nutritionist. And she has put together a 5-day free program that I'm going to do. And I'm encouraging anybody that wants to be part of it. And it's a Divine Body Reset. So if Deb can put Andrea's information up, or anything that we can follow up with. And then I think we're starting October 12th is the 5-day challenge. It's going to be a 5-day divine body reset. And yes, it's on the 12th. So if anybody's interested in joining us on that, you can go onto the website and sign up, or you can go to Spirituality Gone Wild and sign up for that, or you can email me at josie@josieherndon.com, and I'll just get you all the information that I have about it, and hopefully we can do this together. It's definitely something that I looking forward to doing. Divine Body Reset is and Jody says cheesecake challenge. Okay, so if the divine body reset doesn't work, then we're going to go with Jody's cheesecake challenge. So it's going to be one way or the other. I like the cheesecake challenge. That sounds like fun. So anyways, Gabriel's like, no, we're not doing a cheesecake challenge. That was definitely my comment. He says the divine body reset is more of what the angels have in mind for me over the holidays. So anyways, I know I crack myself up sometimes, but I just want to thank everybody for being part of our show tonight and for asking questions and allowing me to share some of my daily life and what goes on our in this neck of the woods of Palm Desert, California, where it's still 111 today. But I haven't seen any fall leaves, of course. But for those of you that have fall leaves, oh my goodness, just take pictures and email them to me because I love the fall leaves. And thank you so much. Have blessings, a very blessed week. And until next Thursday at 7:00. Just stay healthy and happy and much peace and love to you. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you, Jenny. Love you very much.